Guard dogs are not restricted to mastiffs. Other pets, like some shepherd dogs, Spitz canines, livestock pet dogs and some catch pets are likewise great guard dogs as well as being useful as multifunctional pets, serving as guard dog, individual protection pet dogs, cops pet dogs, sport pet dogs such as Schutzhund pets, and so on. Meet Oakley and Oliver, our two new livestock protection dogs. Her canines are born with sheep, raised with sheep and provided nearly no human attention. They stick with their working mothers up until they are 5 to 6 months old, and after that they are ready to be independent working dogs. Our last canine Otto, a Maremma/Akbash/Great Pyrenees mix, concerned us from a various breeder at hardly 2 months old. Then we started observing the bite marks on a few of the sheep's ears. Fellow sheep ranchers informed me I would never be able to trust him with sheep, due to the fact that once a pet has a taste for going after sheep it is tough to break him of it for good. Otto, come on and play, Uncle Orbit. In October we learned that our breeder, Becky, had a litter of puppies and we scheduled to. Otto stayed with us through the winter season, residing in empty pastures, but his presence and his barking at night helped to keep predators away despite the fact that he was not in with the sheep. In April, right before I was due to pick up Oakley and Oliver, we found Otto a home on a veggie farm in Vacaville, where he won't have any sheep to chase, but he will get to stroll the farm securing the crops by going after deer away. They are still pups, obviously, and have fun with each other, however they have not tried to have fun with the sheep at all. We began by enclosing them in a small end of among our pastures, with 2 ewes. The area was tight enough that the ewes would not be able to flee from the dogs, which might cause the canines to chase after. We don't put young pets with lambs, so the pet dog's first flock was to be our 11 ewes who do not have lambs this season. We introduced them in 2 installments, still because small space, and then when everybody seemed comfortable, we opened the fence and let them have the whole pasture. Melinda unloading Oliver on arrival day midday nap with the ewes. The brand new dogs have been with us for 5 weeks now and are bonded to their ewes, and the ewes to them. Among the young ewes got her head stuck in the fence for a few minutes the other day and we watched Oakley sit protectively with her, until she got herself out. We never cease to be surprised at the breeding of the excellent protection canines, the complex behaviors that are completely reproduced into them not requiring any training by people. We love our pets. Thank you to Melinda for the majority of the pictures here. Our needs for security, friendship, and commitment haven't changed much since then, making a watchdog a popular option for the protection of our loved ones and our home. But when it pertains to the most popular dog breeds for defense, there are a couple of things to think about. While guard dogs will simply bark or otherwise notify their people to perceived burglars, guard dogs have a protective impulse for their households, developed over hundreds of years, and they will bite or otherwise defend against hazards, states Gina DiNardo, Executive Secretary at the American Kennel Club, AKC. Even the fiercest canine breeds are still susceptible living beings who count on humans for everything, including food, shelter and trusted friendship. We spoke to 3 prominent dog experts, including an AKC expert, a knowledgeable pet dog fitness instructor and a veterinarian, about the best guard dog breeds. And while every animal is distinct with its own personality, ahead we have actually described some common examples of protective pooches that might simply be the caring, watchful eyes and ears you have actually been looking for. She is likewise the co-host of the AKC National Championship. Bradley Pfeiffer, CBCC-CA, CPDTKSA, is the Executive Director of the Certification Council for Expert Dog Trainers. A dog trainer and habits specialist with almost 20 years of experience, he has actually effectively trained pet dogs of all breed types and temperaments. I'm not sure if I'd give guard dogs and war dogs various stats, probably simply various habits. Relating to hit dice, I have actually usually lowered the hit dice of regular wolves and dogs. Pound for pound, genuine dogs, even wolves, and attack dogs, are not normally a match for armed people. They have been here about a month now and we are so delighted with them. Oakley and Oliver are from the very same breeder who all our finest pet dogs have originated from, and she does a genuinely amazing job. She keeps terrific working dog families. We put a lot of work into supervising him with the sheep and he was occurring nicely, but when he was about a year old, and huge, we discovered that the sheep he was safeguarding were afraid of him. We never ever saw bad habits, however it was clear he was chasing after the sheep when we weren't looking. Eliminating Otto was a tough decision, because we all enjoyed him. He was the only dog we've ever had who would walk on a leash, and he was a sweet, wacky guy who simply liked to play. I don't believe he meant the sheep any damage, but if we could not trust him he had no future here with our sheep. And he will have a brand new playmate, the farmer's 3-year-old Blue Heeler, Max. Oliver and Max first met each other in an initial session in my riding arena and they were immediate pals, if a bit of an odd couple. Oliver meets Max. Oakley and Oliver were impressive from the moment they showed up. We picked Una and Ingot, 2 older East Frisian ewes. Within a day they were absolutely chill and at ease with the pets. As soon as those 4 were comfortable together and the pets were settled in, the next step was to introduce the rest of the flock to the pet dogs. When I started using a guard dog, I had no understanding whatsoever. Although I had trained and used rounding up pet dogs for more than a decade, raising a guard dog was entirely different. I needed to find out as I went along and with it came lots of errors and misconceptions. In the original literature I received from Dr. Green, it plainly specified that human interaction should be minimized to a minimum. The reason for it is that the pet dogs would leave the flock to communicate with human beings when they have excessive contact with them. However, I might not touch them in the open field and I could not stroll them on leash. My third guardian canine, an Akbash named Ista, was a bit more interacted socially and could be touched and patted but still was not leash trained. Now I have my fourth watchdog, an excellent Pyrenees named Simon. First, it became a hassle to obtain the pet dog when the dog required to be immunized, dewormed, or examined for any reason. Secondly, I have actually seen guardian canines in the past years with proper impulses that had human contact throughout rearing, were patted, and were leash trained, however as grown-ups had little desire to follow the individual much around, not to mention leave the flock. My Simon is now 2 years old and is not inclined to leave the sheep when he sees me. Still, we don't communicate with him the same way I engage with my herding canines. So in a sense, the human contact is still restricted but not nearly as restricted as it used to be. Dogs, War Dogs, and Guard Dogs. Quote post by R.A. the Monk Thursday, April 5, 2012, 8:18 a.m. First off, what is the difference in between a War Dog and a Guard Dog? Just wondering as I recently bought on dog. Second, worrying pets and self-important. I read the self-important guidelines and they appear tailored towards humanoid animals. Also, should they get a bonus to do this? Due to the fact that in reality 5 dogs assaulting a human, even if the human is a fighter of a high level, would probably ruin that fighter's day a lot more than 5 kobolds, the example from the C&T Threadomancy. Their numbers is what makes up for their lower stats in combat. What I believe is truly doing not have from the video game is the characteristics that make them exceptional, endurance and eager senses, which combined with their natural trainability makes them remarkable guardians. Endurance. Consider African Cape hunting dogs possess endurance that is nothing short of staggering 2 significant bursts of closing speed. Dogs have a sense of hearing many times our own and a sense of odor that dwarfs anything in our own world. A fantasy video game can clearly vary. In essence, to a dog, whatever is smell. While the motion picture was lousy, one way to think about how a pet dog may see the world is the motion picture Daredevil. So this leads me to where do dogs shine? In detection. Imagine guard dogs at a stronghold. Invisibility does not indicate no noise or sound. A pet, or group of dogs, need to be able to select these up easily. Boots of elven kind or amazingly silenced. With that said, the closest I can consider is something similar to detect invisibility in terms of game mechanics. If it's in the physical world, a pet can select it up, however not something ethereal or celestial. I'm likewise checking out the short articles in Dragon 102 and 103 on canines.